Assalamualaikum and greetings to everyone, especially to our beloved lecturer Dr. Mai. In this video, me and my group mates will present and discuss our group project of written report for EIC504 Lexicology. This presentation video will help us understand how language might reflect gender stereotypes or cultural attitudes in movies. Without further ado, let's move on to the first part of introduction. First and foremost, I'll be discussing how gender stereotypes and representation are reflected in the movie script of Titanic. First, gender stereotypes are shaped by cultural beliefs and influence how men and women are expected to act. Research by Idli et al. Suggests that when individuals exhibit behaviors linked to the opposite gender, society may redefine those traits as typical for that gender. So this study focuses on analyzing attributive adjectives used to describe gender in the Titanic movie script. By doing so, we can understand how language can encode social perception of gender roles. The study also explores gender representation, which refers to how men and women are portrayed in movies. The two main objectives of this study are to identify attributive adjectives used to describe both gender in the Titanic script. The study also classified these adjectives into their semantic categories. So, through this analysis, we can better understand how language in media influences our perception of gender roles.
Influences of media portraits on gender roles and stereotypes has been highlighted by recent study. But first of all, research conducted by Santonicolo 2023 reveals that the representation of gender influence has significantly shaped societal standard and personal gender by identity by utilizing comprehensive sources such as APA, physical articles, and CNOT. Hence, the study confirmed that these media portraits can reinforce harmful attitudes leading to sexism and violence, particularly against women. Heather Scott et 2021 study on gender representation in linguistic publication which has been demonstrated the ongoing underrepresentation of women, and thus it emphasized the need for authors and educators to adopt gender-neutral language and diversity. For example, to challenge stereotypes and encourage inclusivity. Now, our last study by Vidya Mandira 2021 has explored language use differences between male and female university students, and they have found that female tend to use more expressive language characterized by exaggerated adjectives and supportive words, while male prefer straightforward communication with a focus on topics like sports. These three studies collectively indicate that media representation and language use continue to shape gender norms, and by understanding these influences, we can actually work towards fostering a more equitable and inclusive society where all gender identities are represented and respected.
Hi, my name is HUSNINA and I'll be explaining about the risk method and also the classifier category for the main gender. And then first of all, I'll be talking about the risk method, which is about the ANCOG, the application of the software itself. According to Anthony L. in 2022, ANCOG is a free multi-platform tool used in corpus linguistics to analyze large collection of text, maybe like from a script or from any writing known as corpora. Developed by Dr. Lawrence Anthony, ANCOG offers a suite of analytical functions such as word frequency analysis, concordance, keyword analysis, and collocation. All of this type is the section or element that users can try to use and apply while looking or searching for something that they would like to have the research or analysis on. This tool also helps the researchers uncover patterns, trends, and insight within textual data, making it an invaluable resource for quantitative and qualitative linguistic studies. Collocation analysis involves examining how words co-occurs in a corpus, revealing common phrases or word pairing. This can highlight how language is used in specific contexts and uncover subtle nuances in meaning. Comparative analysis, on the other hand, involves comparing different texts, corpora, or linguistic features to identify similarities and also differences between two elements. This approach can be used to compare language usage across different genre, period, or social group. For instance, a comparative analysis might explore how the language or political speeches has evolved over the past century and also during the digital era and whatnot, or how medical terminology varies between academic journal and popular health magazine.
Good day everyone. So today I would like to present about our sample of the study. So the corpus used in the sample of this study is a self-developed corpus which is based on the script of the renowned movie Titanic, which was released in 1997. So the script of the movie contains a total of 45,948 words. The movie was directed and produced by James Cameron, with John Landau working together as the producer. The sample is equal to the full dataset, and we did not encounter any limitations of the sample size that might be caused by computational constraints. For us to access the data for this movie, we browsed the Internet Movie Script Database with IMSDB website, and we searched the movie Titanic in the search box. Once it appears, we press the button Read Titanic Script, and the whole movie script will came out. And then we converted the entire script into one PDF file, and finally the file is uploaded into the software NCOM for us to analyze. So the film of the Titanic movie, which was released in 1997, intertwines a historical tragedy with a poignant love story, which draw parallels to the Shakespearean themes of doom romance. So the film also featured like ill-fated maiden voyage of the RMS Titanic, which was struck by an iceberg on April 14 in the year of 1912, that resulted in the loss of over 1,500 lives. This movie also highlights the use of Grice's cooperative principles in the dialogues in the film, which reveals class distinctions between characters, particularly in the communication styles, which are suitable for this study sample. Now, I would like to explain a bit on the attributive adjectives used to describe male and female in the movie. So we have listed out all the adjectives used in this table. So based on the table above, so the adjective describing males with the highest frequency is the word young. As you can see, it was highlighted in light blue color, which appears 2 times in the script. In contrast, the adjective describing males with the lowest frequency, in which we highlighted in light orange, with only appearing once, are riches, real, good, lucky, little, and first. As for adjective describing female, the adjective with the highest frequency in the script is the word all, as we have highlighted it in the blue color, which appears 3 times. Meanwhile, the adjective describing female with the lowest frequency, which only appear just once, as highlighted in the light orange color, are Irish, older, reluctant, Syrian, broad-shouldered, and brown.
Next, we will move to the next part, which is through finding and discussion. First of all, we have the descriptors for man or met. It will be 3 different categories. Well, first of all, we have the size, quantity, or extent. Second, we have the time and frequency. And lastly, we have the emotive. So let's start. For the size, quantity, and accept, it will be happen in the accept one with the word of riches, where the word doesn't describe any personal or emotion traits of the man, and it is highlight his status compared to other men in the shape. And lastly, it also functions as an attributive adjective in the category of extent. Next, we have the time and frequency, where you will find into except two with the words young, where it describes the man's stage in life, where the term young is commonly used to describe people according to their age, implying that the guy is still in his early adult years. And also the words function as an adjective that has been linked to the man, which highlighting his status in relation to his age. And lastly, we have the emotive, where it can be found in excerpt 3 with the word of good. The word itself conveys a positive, subjective judgment about the man's character, where it is expressed as emotional and moral evaluation, and it serves as a communicate to personal approval based on the Jack's character. So that's it.
Next, for the classifier of relational, affiliative, and topical for the gender man, the first one is that except for shows the steerage word is given as an adjective to categorize the man, since that the steerage describe the gender man. This is due to the part of area which is he stays at the part of a ship providing accommodation for people with the cheapest ticket, since that he could not afford the pricey part because the ticket is very expensive. Then the men's class level have to be at the any lower class accommodation. Therefore, the steerage man falls under the relational classifier category because it more into describing his social status and economic class instead of the transportation or the cruise itself. While steerage is not among the category of person quality or maybe the feeling or emotional expression, then he is more into the relational classifier. Next, we are moving on to the affiliative classifier. In the except 5, Yale, which is a 20-ish Yale man. This is to describe the gender man, because Yale is actually a small city in New Haven, Connecticut, America. Then the word Yale is to describe the young man, because where he is coming from, his origin place, his style, his hometown, and his background is falling under the affiliative classifier category, because it is more into the affiliation or group belonging. This is where the gender male attributive adjective within the usage of his age and origin city. Then it is providing more extra information for the young man. For the last topical classifier for the gender man, there was no topical classifier for males found in this movie, because that this movie is more into adventurous, historical, and romance genre, and therefore it is very impossible to find topical, which is like, for example, like the specific man to be related with the adjective in this movie. So that is all from me. Thank you.
Now we will look at the part 3, which is the descriptors used on female in the Titanic movie. So, women in Titanic are described through 3 types of adjective, which is color, size, and also time. And these descriptors play a significant role in shaping how female characters are perceived and highlight certain themes in the film. So, we look at the first one, which is the color descriptors. In excerpt 7, the adjective brown is used to describe Molly Brown's hair. And this is an example of how a simple color adjective can help make a character stand out. And by specifying her hair color, the script makes her presence more distinct and memorable for the audience. It also helps reinforce her identity as a strong, recognizable figure within the story. In films, color descriptors like this contribute to imagery, making characters more vivid in our minds. Next, size descriptors. In excerpt 8, a woman is labeled as broad-shouldered, and this description does more than just indicate her physical build. It gives insight into her personality and also role in the film. A broad-shouldered figure is often associated with strength and capability, which aligns with the way she confidently carries her own luggage. Instead of relying on a porter, her actions reflect independence and self-sufficiency. This adjective, therefore, doesn't just describe appearance, it also hints the character traits. Finally, time descriptors. In excerpt 9, the adjective old is used to describe the woman in steerage, while emphasize age as a defining trait, contrasting them with younger passengers like children and also girls. And then it highlights the sense of community in steerage, where families of different generations coexist. Unlike first class, where individuals are often portrayed in isolation, steerage is depicted as a lively, family-like environment. The presence of old women reinforces this realism, making the setting feel more historically accurate.
In the movie script and dialogues, different adjectives are used to classify the female gender based on their social and also cultural identities. First, we have relational classifiers. For example, the phrase first-class women categorize women based on their social status rather than their individual traits. This highlights how privilege and hierarchy shape their experiences in the film. Next, we have affiliative classifiers like Irish women, categorize women by nationality or cultural identity. This reinforces the idea that women's identities are often defined by external affiliations rather than personal attributes. But interestingly, topical classifiers, which categorize individuals by profession or expertise, are absent in Titanic. Women are not defined by career-based adjective, showing how the movie prioritized social status and ethnicity over professional roles. So overall, the film's choice of attributive adjective for the classifiers category reflects traditional gender norms by emphasizing women's backgrounds rather than their achievements.
So now we will look at the similarities and also differences in how men and women are described in the film Titanic through the use of adjective. So starting with the similarities, we can see that both men and women are described using time-related adjectives. Men are labeled as young, meanwhile women are labeled as old. And this highlights how age is considered a defining characteristic for both genders. Another similarity is the use of size-related descriptors. For men, we have riches, which signifies financial magnitude, while for women, we see broad-shouldered, which emphasizes physical presence. In both cases, adjectives highlight the scale of a person's attributes, whether material or even physical. Social status is also a shared classifier. Men are identified as steerage passengers and women as first-class passengers. This distinction suggests that class plays a significant role in character descriptions, regardless of gender. Additionally, affiliative classifiers link characters to cultural or social groups, with terms like Yale men and Irish women, showing how men and women are connected to broader communities. However, there are also key differences. One major contrast is in the description of physical appearance. While women are given a specific color descriptor like brown for her hair, men are not described in terms of color at all. This suggests that female characters receive more emphasis on their physical traits compared to men. Another striking difference lies in emotive descriptors, where men are described as good, suggesting a moral judgment about their character, but there is no equivalent adjective for women, and this could imply a tendency to define men based on their virtues while focusing more on women's physical characteristics instead. Lastly, topical classifiers are absent for both genders, meaning characters are not categorized by profession or thematic roles. However, the absence of topical classification for women is particularly significant because it suggests that their roles are not defined by their occupation, reinforcing traditional gender norms.
The findings from this study reveal how Titanic reinforces traditional gender roles through language. So, male characters are described with adjectives like riches, good, and lucky, emphasizing power, morality, and also success. This aligns with the past study, which shows that men in films are often portrayed as independent agents with financial and also social authority. But in contrast, female characters are described by age, status, and ethnicity, using words like old, first class, and also Irish. This reflects how women's identities are often tied to societal hierarchies rather than personal achievements. While Titanic does not blatantly objectify women, it does build their identity around social position rather than individuality. So, in contrast to how males are portrayed through capability and rank, this pattern supports theories like Hofstede masculinity-femininity model, where men are linked to power and success, while women are associated with relationships and also background roles. Ultimately, the linguistic choices in Titanic reinforce traditional gender norms, shaping audience and perceptions of gender and culture in subtle but significant ways.
So, to conclude, our study highlights how language in Titanic reinforces traditional gender roles through descriptive adjective. Men are primarily portrayed in terms of wealth, power, and morality, while women are defined by age, class, and physical traits. This reflects a common cultural pattern where masculinity is linked to success and status, whereas femininity is associated with appearance and social positioning. The historical romance genre of the film amplifies these roles, positioning men as active decision makers and women as defined by relationships rather than personal achievements. Notably, the absence of professional descriptors for women suggests a lack of emphasis on their individual capabilities, reinforcing gendered societal hierarchies. This study emphasized how film language plays a crucial role in shaping audience perceptions of gender. As media continue to evolve, it is important to examine whether modern films are shifting towards more inclusive and balanced gender representation across different genres.